Hey everyone, this is Paul Margansky. I'm going to be sharing a few thoughts about my experiences in the um, pharmaceutical as well as medical device, um, we'll say, space, technology space, healthcare space, whatever you want to call it. So, yes, let's start back from the beginning. I am a chemical engineer by education. I graduated in the year 2000 from University of New Haven here in Connecticut. Did very well at the chemical engineering program. They have a wonderful program, and the school has grown tremendously since I've graduated, again in 2000. Um, right out of college, I had worked during college as well, but right out of college, I got a job with a small, relatively small semiconductor materials company called Advanced Technology Materials, ATMI. And I was there for 9+ years, right out of college until almost 2010. Um, and I learned a lot of good fundamental practices, if you will, laboratory skills, um, some computer programming or programming for automated systems. In our case, we dealt with a lot of hazardous toxic gases, high pressure gases like fluorine, germanium tetrafluoride, boron trifluoride, arsine, phosphine, these kinds of things. Received a bunch of patents and publications, many, probably 20+ patents and patent applications, and probably almost as many publications in different trade journals, et cetera, for a multitude of products that we had worked on and launched. I also spent some time for the last couple of years. I was there doing intellectual property management, meaning I would work in between R&D and the legal team. And I would help the engineers craft better patents, better patent claims, do some automated and not automated IP landscaping, looking for different companies in the space we were operating, looking for blue oceans, meaning if you ever read a blue ocean strategy, we were actively looking by using these patent search tools, actively looking for areas that our competition was not operating in so that we could try to find new areas to, one, research, and then two, get some patent protection and come out with new products that, we had fundamental IP protection for. And so we're developing lots of new products, materials, different kinds of abatement technologies for removing toxic materials from semiconductor manufacturing operations. Long and short of it, we had a great 9 years plus there. Really enjoyed my time. Met some great people working there. Dr. Jose Arno, one of the primary ones among them, and Dr. Carl Olander as well. Two really big mentors, if you will, while I was at the company. So, yeah, Dr. Olander, Dr. Arno, I owe them a lot of gratitude, or a debt of gratitude, for showing me how professionals work hard, get things done, stay organized, how they communicate within businesses, and some very fundamental things. But at the same time, just creating that confidence, that quiet confidence that a professional should have. To that end, I mean, I owe them a big debt of gratitude. So by some miracle, if Carl or Jose saw this, thanks to you each, gentlemen. You had a big impact early in my career, and I appreciate it. Moving on from ATMI, or Advanced Technology Materials, I took a job with Medtronic. At the time, it was Covidien, in the healthcare, or I should say medical device space. So it was Covidien when I joined. Prior to that, it was Tyco Healthcare. And prior to everything going on with Tyco, et cetera, in which they were acquired. It used to be the old U.S. Surgical, known for surgical staplers and some other things in that realm. But by the time they had become Tyco Healthcare, they were a pretty massive company. And then they rebranded themselves into Covidien after all the financial shenanigans with the Tyco companies as a whole. And so now you have three different Tyco companies: Tyco Healthcare, which is Covidien, which is now part of Medtronic. You got Tyco Electronics, which I believe is still its own company. And then Tyco Electronics, Tyco Healthcare, Tyco, I'm forgetting one. I think there's like fire safety or something. And as far as I know, they're independent, or still independent, but I really don't know. Haven't followed them. So anyways, there's a history of Covidien. I was with Covidien and then Medtronic for a combined 9+ years, again, almost 10, and did a lot with, I was on their soft tissue biosurgery, mechanical devices, platforms, and also did a little bit with some of their stapling. And now, most recently, which I'll get into, was or is their robotics platform, which I'm back at Medtronic on a contractual assignment to fill in for a couple people that are on leave, FMLA for like what do you call it, for like paternity leave, maternity leave, that kind of thing. So anyways, in the 9+ years I was with Medtronic, really worked on 3 different platforms, mostly really managing projects from the very beginning stages to commercialization and post-commercialization support, from soup to nuts, meaning anywhere from manufacturing folks on the floor I'd deal with, all the way up to VPs, directors, et cetera, when I'd present projects or have different reasons to escalate things to that level, whether it be for more resources or more spending dollars, that kind of thing. And so I was responsible for a number of projects at any given time, maybe about half a dozen, and very large global teams for each of these. Most of these were 510(k) filings, so the regulatory pieces of these projects were relatively straightforward, mostly, except for some biosurgery stuff I had worked on, which were more PMA type submissions. Most notably was Veriset, that I worked on virtually the entire time I was at Medtronic, and became a very successful product line. If you look up Veriset, VERISET, that was one of the projects I worked on, and that stops bleeding with they called it, generic term is a hemostatic patch or hemostatic agent. This one is used for basic surgery, general surgery. So if you have a liver resection, you remove cancer from your liver, for example, a surgeon would remove the cancerous part of the liver, and then obviously your liver is going to bleed a lot. So as opposed to cauterizing or suturing the liver, we had come up with this hemostatic patch agent, whatever you want to call it, called Veriset. And it is basically a textile of oxidized cellulose, which by itself is a hemostat agent, oxidized cellulose. It does slow bleeding and ultimately stop it eventually, but nowhere near as quickly as what's needed for an OR. So in developing Veriset, we were looking at very quick clotting time, or what they talked in their in the filing as gel time. How long does it take for that patch to set up and stop bleeding? And that's usually 15 to 30 seconds. I believe the spec goes up to 1 minute, if I remember correctly, but it worked pretty rapidly. It's around a half a minute set time. So you put this, came in 3 different sizes, but say 2 by 2 centimeter patch, so 1 by 1 inch, not even, maybe 3, 0.7, 0.8 inches by 0.7, 0.8 inches. So postage, a little bit larger than postage stamp, but you get the idea. Put that on something, and immediately stop the bleed. Again, this was for general surgery and for surgeries. It's not meant for emergency use. Say if you got an injury due to a car crash or something and you're bleeding externally, it's not really what the product's meant for, although it does work in that sense. So in some emergency procedures, the product Veriset has been used to stop bleeding in some very urgent cases, including someone's carotid artery being punctured. And obviously that's a rapid bleed that you could die within minutes if it's not controlled. So from that point, you can understand that having an active hemostat would stop that bleeding more rapidly. So that was one of the more high visibility projects at that time that I worked on. And then most recently, I'm working at Medtronic, as I mentioned before, working on the robotics platform. So this is what they call their Hugo RAS, robotic assisted surgery. So it's basically competing head to head with Intuitive Surgical and some other smaller players, but basically we're the number two behemoth, let's say, with their robot, going head to head with Intuitive, ultimately in the US, because that's where the biggest market would be for this type of product. But just recently, Medtronic announced that they submitted their FDA filing. So that's a big milestone for the company. And we'll see what comes of that. Obviously the company is very excited. Everyone at the company is very excited. And even the regulators at the FDA are excited to see this product. It's been a long time coming for sure, but to see something that is up to standards on cybersecurity, that's something that's very easy to use, has high success rate, low failure rate, something that was designed 15 years ago or something by Intuitive, they're constantly going to have to upgrade it. And in some ways, being the first mover, yes, they certainly garnered a high percentage of the market, but they're dealing with a platform that is now somewhat older, and it's going to have certain disadvantages coming rather than let's say Medtronic coming in with the brand new system they have today. With certain advantages to the surgeons as far as usability and ease of use. Just the cost per procedure is come way down by using robotic surgery. It's pretty amazing. What used to take, let's say 45-minute case might only take 15 minutes now, or something like this. So you're saving a lot of time in the OR, which directly impacts the cost savings. And then also the instruments that are interface with the Hugo RAS, obviously they're designed to work only with Medtronic systems. So obviously they're banking on sales of instruments as well into that market. So that's about all I have to say about Medtronic. Lots of good learnings there as far as program management, dealing with ambiguity, dealing with large teams and all the different personalities and complications that come from that. And being able to work through all that and being able to maintain timelines, budgets, resource planning, working through just day-to-day issues with different team members or different technical issues or third-party vendors, many areas where risk and potential issues come up during a project, especially a project that's 3, 4, 5, 6 years long. And we'll get into more of that as I move onward in my career to pharmaceuticals. After leaving Medtronic, after nearly 10 years with the company, I was at the point where I wanted to try something new, non-medical device, not 100% medical device, let me clarify. So I started working with Alexion Pharmaceuticals, which is a pharma company that was purchased by AstraZeneca, I believe in 2022-ish, if I remember correctly, something like this. And obviously things are going well for AstraZeneca today. At the time, I was hired directly to help them design and commercialize auto injector type devices, on-body delivery systems, infusers, etc., to deliver some of their very successful drugs that are used for rare diseases like myasthenia gravis, aHUS, PNH, different kinds of autoimmune diseases that impact people's lives quite dramatically, I would say. And they're making tons of money off these products like Ultomiris, Solaris, a few other drugs up and coming and whatnot. But, I worked there for just over a year, and we worked with third-party vendors that such as your Becton Dickinson, your West Pharmaceuticals, Ipsomed. There are tons of these companies that make devices that deliver the drug, and not only deliver the drug, but it has to be a controlled delivery, meaning you might want a certain number of milliliters per second or milligrams per second, depending on how you're measuring it. And it largely depends on the drug. Different drugs have different viscosities, which is going to determine the flow rate for a given size of a injector. So you can redesign the injectors with different orifice sizes, different spring designs, different travel distances for the plunger to deliver the drug at the dose you want, or the dose rate that you want, and give you a certain max dose. So it might be 30 milliliters, and you're delivering at 3 milliliters per second. So that would give you 10 seconds to get your delivery. And these are auto injectors designed to go into people's houses or to a healthcare provider, where you'd go and get your weekly, monthly, semi-annual shot, whatever it is, this injection, to prevent some of these awful diseases like, let's just say lupus or something like this. That kind of brings me to my next company, which was Biogen. I did a lot of work. Again, this was also on mechanical delivery devices or drug delivery devices, much like the previous assignment with Alexion. So they hired me directly to do virtually the same job, although this was with a different set of drugs now. Now we're talking lupus, we're talking rheumatoid arthritis, we're talking obesity, potentially. At that time, it was really for diabetes, but now we see a lot of stuff coming down with Ozempic and things like this with the obesity market. And surely, the auto injectors are going to get, kind of drawn into that. Right now, it looks like pen injectors, et cetera. But, I'm sure if they haven't been available yet, they will be available with auto injectors sooner rather than later. And then there will be future innovations for the obesity drugs. Right now, they're GLP-1. What's the word I'm looking for? Can't remember off the top of my head. But anyways, they're going to block the receptor for the GLPs. So onward beyond that, I'll get into this in future discussions that I hold, but some of the technologies, we all know that GLP-1s are good for losing weight, but it's not so good at being selective about what weight you lose. You lose both lean muscle mass and your adipose or fat tissues. So your 15% body weight that you lost off Ozempic, a lot of that's, sorry to say, lean muscle mass. So that's why they call it Ozempic face or things like this, where you have sunken, because your connective tissues, your musculature just isn't what it was. And so your face will sag, your other parts of you sag. And, say what you want about it. I mean, it clinically does help certain parameters for cardiac and metabolic health. So there are some indirect ways of showing that these GLP-1s are benefiting people, not just for losing weight, but for other reasons. And the diabetes, of course. So we'll get into that more, but I just wanted to touch on that. So that, Biogen was largely lupus, auto injectors for autoimmune disorders for the most part. From there, I took a couple other assignments where I did some work for Janssen Pharmaceuticals, and even did some post-market studies for pediatric trials for some of their drugs. That was very interesting. So in each case, you could kind of see, as I went from contract to contract after leaving Medtronic, there was 1.5 year stints for the next 6 or 7 years, whatever it's been, and learned quite a bit on how different companies operate, how different teams get along or don't get along. You like really see all sides of how people, work hard, but just the team dynamics and how different companies create those environments or micro environments, just by the way they operate. And there are certain ways that I can help keep my team on task and not distracted if there are distractions, and keep them motivated. And that's what I pride myself on. Really, is team player, team, kind of like a team captain kind of thing. But I really rely. While I do have a technical background, I never pretend to be the most intelligent person in the room. What I'm good at is getting people together to extract the information that we need to keep the timeline, to keep the budget, to keep our resources what we had planned. So I am good at finding the right people to do the work to get the job done, is how I would put it. But after going stint to stint for the last 6-7 years, whatever it's been, I find myself again at Medtronic here in the year 2025. And again, I'm on the robotics platform, and things are going very well. I'm really enjoying the work quite a bit. So I think I'm going to leave things here. We'll try to do this more often. I haven't been on my personal channel in a long time. I never really did much with it, as you can see. But looking forward, I think I'm going to do this on a somewhat regular basis, and maybe I'll start to get some subs, and we could start getting this message across. If you do see this, please give me a like. I only have a handful of subscribers right now. My other channel, which was Pico Pros, which the videos are still there. The account is more or less just idle. It's not monetized anymore or anything like that. That barely has not even 3,000 subscribers. But we were doing things that, very early on YouTube, fairly early YouTube. I mean, over 10 years ago. So in the year 2015, YouTube was a lot smaller. Certainly not as many YouTube millionaires as there are today, I'm sure. But I don't foresee this ever getting anything big. Anyways, this is more for my personal use and maybe steering some people towards some different topics I may cover in this and link to my LinkedIn account, and sort of tie that in that way in hopes of both building the community here, but also kind of bouncing it back to LinkedIn and getting that virtuous cycle going. So I may talk about different companies or stock advice maybe. I do own some stocks in the biotech or medical device arena that I could go into. I own a few. I think I could just tell you right now what I own. Alnylam Pharmaceuticals, I've been involved with their stock since 2004 when they went public. So I've done very well with Alnylam. And I think, they definitely are the leaders in short interfering RNAs for gene silencing. And they have a huge, bright future ahead of them. They're finally going to be cash flow positive, hopefully this year, 2025, with Amvuttra being launched, or at least FDA approved. So it technically is launched, but we'll see what the sales look like. Anyways, so that's Alnylam. We also have Wave Life Sciences. That's WVE is the ticker symbol. These guys specialize in their own version of a GalNAc type delivery device for their drugs, being gene silencing as well. One of their more interesting things is a obesity drug. I think it's WVE-007 maybe, which is our obesity treatment. And that attacks not only does their treatment take care of the adipose tissue, but it protects any degradation to the lean muscle tissue, which is exactly what I was talking about with GLP-1s. That GLP-1s also decrease your adipose tissue with the lean muscle mass loss. And the lean muscle mass loss is what's really the differentiator here. As we move on to Wave Life Sciences, they target the INHBE gene or marker, as opposed to the GLP-1. And in doing so, they're moving further upstream where the proteins are expressed. So they're shutting that down so you don't have to worry about the downstream effects. And that is why they're able to not affect your lean muscle mass. So you're able to get the same weight loss without affecting muscle mass, which is the holy grail as far as I could tell. I mean, holy grail would be building up your lean muscle mass, I suppose, but it's probably asking a bit much of a drug. But for now, I see somebody like a Wave Life Sciences, or there's a few of the companies out there. There's Silence Therapeutics, but they're a little earlier stage and a lot smaller. So I see them getting bought out at some point, if at all, because they're running short on. Well, they haven't. Their stock has not been doing well. So. But I don't own Silence. I own the Wave Life Sciences. Anyways, moving on. I also own Vertex Pharmaceuticals, which is another gigantic biotech company. They're known for their lupus. Excuse me, I keep saying lupus. They're known for their cystic fibrosis treatments, and they just got approval on their Vanzacafta triple, which is their latest, and they control by far the vast majority of the cystic fibrosis drugs on the market. Currently, their Trikafta generated something $10.4 billion in revenue in 2024. So it's huge. It's one of the largest drugs on the market today. But they have other drugs coming. They have their Journavax, which is their pain, non-opioid pain relief drug. They're working on diabetes. They're working on a number of different things. They have a kidney drug that they acquired through Alpine Life Sciences. So this is all Vertex. They're looking good. Let's move on. Skywater Technology, semiconductor company, very small foundry type company. They do advanced chips for AI, for defense, for rad hard systems, all these different things. And so, it's been painful recently, but I did average down quite a bit and sold at, much higher when it ran up quite a bit a while ago, and then bought back in lower. So I'm not worried about that. We have CRISPR Therapeutics, which is a gene editing company. CRSP is a ticker. And we also have Beam Therapeutics, BEAM Therapeutics. And so between the two of those, I hope at least one of the two, and I do believe this will be successful ultimately. I kind of at this point think Beam is probably the winner at this point, just based on their approach to doing the base editing versus traditional CRISPR gene editing. So I think the base editing, that's an advantage there. So far Beam's been holding up, but still a far cry from where it was a few years back. Let me think if there's any others that I forgot about. Alnylam, Vertex, Life Science, Skywater. I think I got them all. If I didn't, no biggie. But as I call things out on here, if I do talk about stocks, I'll let you know if I own them. But for now, those are the ones I own. Anyways, going to leave it about here. It's about a half hour, so it's perfect timing. If you have any questions for me, feel free to use the comment section below. I'd be flattered and more than happy to answer your question. You can always reach out to me via email. It's just paul.margansky@gmail.com. You can get the spelling of my name off the channel here. And I am on Twitter or X. It's Paul BioGeek, I believe it is, @Paul BioGeek. And that's about it. So happy Friday. This is Friday, March 28th, and it's about 4:30 Eastern time in the afternoon. And I'm going to sign off now, but I appreciate you if you listen to this. And if you have any questions, again, put them in the comments section below, what your thoughts are on either my career path, what I might think of next. As I look forward, I do want to get more involved on strategy, I think I would say. So whether that's a PMO type leader or an R&D type leader, where I can help grow a department of very, I'd say world-class people that are executing projects and holding up their end of the bargain by, meeting schedule, budget, their resource planning, everything being done and dusted, and just execute. And I think given the right opportunity with the right company, I could be quite an effective leader. I have in the past. So that's really what my next foray is going to be. I'm not sure when my contract with Medtronic is up. I think the contract itself says July, but that's all up to whatever happens, I guess, is what I mean. Budgets and all those kinds of things, and my availability, of course, because I'm always, got my eyes and ears open for opportunities, no matter what. Even when I was with, ATMI and Medtronic for 10 years, almost at a time, always had my ear to the ground, looking for opportunities. So that I would recommend that to anybody: is you always have your eyes and ears open for new opportunities. An opportunity is not a failure, even if it, you only get a year out of it and it doesn't move you forward in your career per se. But if it's a learning experience, it does move you forward in your career. It's not all about exactly how much you make. You don't have to make more you did this year than last year, although that is generally the case. But when you're moving from company to company, sometimes, to get the right experience or the right setup, if you will, you take a hit on the salary maybe, or you make up with it on a different, more vacation time or whatever, signing bonus, whatever it takes. Companies, to get the right people, they're willing to pay for it. So don't be shy asking for more money. But at the same time, don't let that stop you from a great opportunity. Yeah, so that's your call. But I'm very happy with what I've done in my career so far. Still got some time to go, but yeah, we'll leave it there. But thank you for joining again. Comment below, like this video, give me a thumbs up, and subscribe to the channel. I'd like to do more of this, but if nobody's watching, then where's the motivation, right? So hopefully this gets some play and some likes, and we'll make another one soon. I promise. If this gets even 5 likes, I'll make another video by this time next Friday. Guaranteed. It'll be at least 10 minutes. By next Friday, April 4th, 2nd, whatever the heck it is. I think it's the 4th. I don't know. Whatever it is, by next Friday, we'll do another video if there's at least 5 likes. So that's our challenge. All right. I may even give you one if I can like this thing. I don't even know if I can. But anyways, all right. Take care, everyone. And always, always, always keep your eyes and ears open and look for opportunity, not just for your career, but look for opportunity everywhere you go. All right. Thanks. Good luck, everyone.